In the quiet halls of Yale University, Dr. Darla McFerrin was used to going through dozens of old photographs every day. As a historian with over 20 years of experience, not many things surprised her anymore, but that changed one crisp October morning when she received a mysterious manila envelope with no return address. Inside was an old, sepia-toned photograph and a short note that read, "Found this in my grandmother's attic. Thought you might find it interesting. J. Morrison." The name rang a bell. Jay had been one of her brightest students before. Graduating in 2023, curious, Dr. McFerrin took a closer look at the photo. It showed three young girls standing together in what looked like a rural town. Their clothes were worn and torn, but their expressions were unique. One smiled gently, another frowned, and the third had a mischievous grin. But beneath those expressions, something more powerful could be seen: relief, like they had just escaped from something terrible. Dr. McFerrin called over her assistant, Olivia Martinez, who specialized in early 20th century photography. Together, they examined the photograph in detail. They noticed that although the girls appeared poor, they stood proudly. Their posture didn't show shame or fear like many Depression-era photos. Instead, they looked brave and even happy. Olivia pointed out that their clothing and the style of the photograph didn't match photos from the 1930s Great Depression period. Dr. McFerrin flipped the image and confirmed the timestamp. It was marked simply 1913. There was also a barely visible studio stamp in the bottom corner, though it was too faded to read clearly. They studied the background in the photo and saw wooden houses, a dirt path, and simple construction. Everything pointed to a small rural town, possibly somewhere in the American Midwest. Something about this image didn't sit right with them, so they decided to dig deeper and brought the photo to Professor James Foster, Yale's top expert in early American social history. Professor Foster, an older man known for his knowledge of forgotten American institutions, was fascinated by the image. He believed the three girls could have come from one of the many industrial or reform schools common in the early 1900s. These were places where children were sent for minor rule breaking or simply for being poor or orphaned. Many of them were treated harshly, made to work hard, and lived in poor conditions. But even Foster found something unusual in this photo. The girls didn't look like they were in a facility at all. They looked like they had escaped. They're free. Posture and facial expressions suggested that they were finally out of danger. If this theory was true, the photograph might be one of the rare surviving images of children who successfully ran away from one of those institutions. Wanting to know more, the team contacted local historical societies, examined records from Kansas and surrounding states, and even used digital tools to enhance the faded studio stamp. Meanwhile, Olivia posted the image online on a Reddit history forum, hoping someone might recognize it. Then, something unexpected happened. A phone call came from 89-year-old Mrs. Maddie Sullivan from Brownell, Kansas. Her grandson had seen the image online and shown it to her. She told them she recognized it immediately. "That picture, I know it," she said over the phone. Mrs. Sullivan said her grandmother used to tell stories about three mysterious girls who came to Brownell around 1913. They looked like they'd been through hell, she said, but they smiled like they'd found heaven. According to Mrs. Sullivan, the girls had walked nearly 50 miles from a place called Berthmore Industrial School for Girls in Terracotta, Kansas. The school had a terrible reputation for mistreating children and was closed a few years later. Mrs. Sullivan even found an old newspaper article from 1913 with a headline, "Three Brave Souls Saved from Terracotta Reformation." The story listed their names and ages: Mary, 14, punished for stealing bread for her sick mother; Ruth, 13, labeled incorrigible for questioning a teacher; and Catherine, 15, punished for protecting her younger brother from abuse. According to the article and Mrs. Sullivan's memory, the town of Brownell had welcomed the girls with open arms. Local families gave them homes, the community helped them enroll in school, and they grew up in peace. Mary later opened a bakery, Ruth became a teacher, and Catherine trained as a nurse. The story was heartwarming and powerful, a tale of escape, survival, and second chances. For Dr. McFerrin and her team, this discovery felt like the final piece of the puzzle. They were ready to publish their findings until another phone call took the story in a completely different direction. This time, it was Detective Michael Torres from the Kansas City Police Department. He had seen the Reddit post and done some digging of his own. "Dr. McFerrin," he said, We believe your girls might actually be someone else entirely. What he was about to reveal shocked everyone involved in the case. At a meeting the next day, Detective Torres shared documents that revealed the girls had gone missing in April 1913 from a wealthy family in Nebraska. Their names, Ruth and Catherine Whitmore. Yes, the same names in the photo, but these girls were the daughters of a powerful banker, Julian Whitmore. Family photos showed the same faces, just cleaner, richer, and dressed in fine clothing. So how did they end up in Brownell, looking like escaped orphans? Detective Torres revealed that the police had received new information from the Whitmore family's private journals. Catherine had kept a diary, and in its pages, she described a life of sadness and abuse. Their father was cruel, and their mother ignored their suffering. The sisters had planned their escape for months. They disguised themselves using old clothes provided by Mary, their close friend and servant. The three girls ran away, pretending to be poor runaways from a reform school so that no one would suspect they were from a wealthy family. It was a brilliant and heartbreaking plan. They knew that if they pretended to be rich girls running from home, authorities would chase them down. But poor children escaping from a cruel institution, no one would look too closely. And they were right. The townspeople of Brownell accepted their story and never questioned it. Julian Whitmore, their powerful father, used his influence to keep their disappearance out of the newspapers. He didn't want anyone to know his daughters had fled him, fearing it would ruin his reputation. Over the years, the truth was buried in tell now. As Dr. McFerrin, Olivia, and Professor Foster listened, they realized the story was much bigger than they first thought. These girls didn't just escape poverty or abuse from an institution. They escaped wealth, power, and control. They risked everything for freedom and found safety in a small, unsuspecting town where they could start fresh. Today, the famous photograph of the three girls hangs in the Brownell Historical Society, with a plaque explaining the full story behind it. Dr. McFerrin keeps a copy in her office too, not just as a reminder of the discovery, but as a symbol of courage. It's incredible to think that a simple old photo found in an attic could uncover so much. These three girls, each with a heartbreaking past, chose freedom over fear and went on to live peaceful, productive lives. Their journey is a lesson in bravery, in how people can choose hope even in the darkest times. And for the people of Brownell, it's also a story of kindness, how a small town unknowingly protected two of the most hunted girls in the Midwest. In the end, it wasn't just about solving a historical mystery, it was about giving a voice back to three girls who had been silent for over 100 years. Their photo now tells a story the world will never forget.